Staying calm is not weakness, it is mastery. In a world that feeds on reaction, the calm individual stands as a ruler over their own spirit. Power is not loud, aggressive, or impatient. True power is controlled, intentional, and disciplined. When you remain calm, you are not ignoring reality, you are choosing authority over chaos. Calmness gives you command over your decisions. When emotions run unchecked, they hijack wisdom. Anger speaks quickly but thinks slowly. Fear exaggerates problems. Anxiety rushes outcomes that are not ready. But calmness slows the moment, just enough for clarity to enter. In that space, you choose purpose instead of impulse. You respond rather than react. Reaction gives control to circumstances, but response keeps control within you. Staying calm preserves your identity. Many people lose themselves not because of failure, but because of pressure. Pressure exposes what governs you. If pressure controls you, you will compromise who you are to escape discomfort. But when you remain calm, you remain aligned with your values. You do not betray your character for temporary relief. Calmness allows you to stand firm while everything around you demands that you bend. Power grows in silence. The calm person does not need to announce strength. Their presence speaks before their words do. People who are easily shaken must constantly defend themselves. But the calm individual carries quiet authority. They are not rushed to prove anything. They know who they are, where they are going, and what deserves their energy. That certainty becomes intimidating to those who live by emotion. Calmness also protects your vision. Vision requires patience. When you panic, you shorten your future to survive the moment. You trade destiny for urgency. Staying calm keeps your eyes on the long term. It reminds you that delay is not denial and opposition is not defeat. Calm people endure storms because they understand that turbulence does not change direction unless you surrender the wheel. To stay calm is to stay powerful, because calmness keeps you governable by purpose, not provoked by people. Others may attempt to disturb your peace to control your behavior. When they succeed, they lead you without permission. But when you stay calm, you deny them that authority. You become unmovable, not because nothing affects you, but because nothing owns you. Power is the ability to remain yourself under pressure. Calmness is the environment where that power thrives. When you master your emotions, you master your future. When you stay calm, you stay in command. And when you stay in command, power follows naturally, quietly, consistently, and unshakably. Calmness is self-government. It is the ability to rule your inner world before attempting to influence the outer one. A person who cannot govern their emotions is easily governed by circumstances, opinions, and pressure. Calmness is not the absence of emotion, it is the presence of authority over emotion. It means you feel deeply, yet you decide deliberately. You experience pressure, yet you remain principled. This inner rule is the foundation of true strength. Self-government begins with awareness. When you are calm, you are conscious of what is happening within you. You recognize anger before it speaks, fear before it directs, and excitement before it misleads. Many people live reactively because they are unaware of their inner state. They speak first and think later. They commit before they understand. Calmness creates a pause, and in that pause lies power. That pause is where wisdom intervenes and choice replaces impulse. Calmness also protects your dignity. When emotions take control, dignity is often the first casualty. Words are spoken that cannot be retrieved. Actions are taken that require apologies, and decisions are made that demand damage control. A calm person preserves their honor by refusing to be dragged into emotional chaos. They do not allow disrespect, provocation, or urgency to reduce them to behavior beneath their values. Self-government means you remain yourself, even when challenged. A calm individual understands that emotions are signals, not commanders. Anger may signal injustice, fear may signal risk, and sadness may signal loss. But none of these emotions are qualified to rule. They inform, but they do not decide. Self-government is the discipline of listening without surrendering control. This discipline separates leaders from followers, the mature from the impulsive, and the powerful from the easily manipulated. Calmness makes you unmanageable to manipulators. Those who thrive on control often use emotional triggers to provoke reactions. When they succeed, they gain influence over your behavior. But when you remain calm, you break their strategy. You deny them access to your inner control room. A self-governed person cannot be rushed, baited, or coerced. They move by conviction, not by pressure. Self-government through calmness also strengthens patience. Patience is not passive waiting, it is active restraint. It is knowing when not to move. Calm people do not panic when results delay or when answers are unclear. They trust process over impulse. They understand that growth, maturity, and success require time. By staying calm, they allow things to develop properly instead of forcing outcomes prematurely. Calmness gives clarity in decision-making. Emotional turbulence clouds judgment, distorts perception, and exaggerates threats. Calmness clears the mind so truth can be seen as it is, not as fear or desire paints it. A calm person sees options others miss because they are not blinded by urgency. This clarity becomes a strategic advantage in relationships, leadership, and life. Ultimately, calmness is the highest form of discipline. It is strength under control. It is power that does not need to announce itself. When you govern yourself, you do not need others to validate you or circumstances to favor you. You carry stability within. That inner stability becomes influence, credibility, and authority. Calmness is self-government, and self-government is the birthplace of lasting power. Reaction hands authority to circumstances. The moment you react without reflection, you surrender leadership over your life to whatever triggered you. Your mood, your words, and your decisions become dictated by external events rather than internal conviction. Reaction is not action, it is submission. It is allowing situations, people, or pressure to decide who you will be in that moment. When you react, you operate from instinct instead of intention. Instinct is useful for survival, but it is dangerous for direction. A loud voice provokes anger, a delay produces anxiety, criticism ignites defensiveness, and uncertainty breeds fear. None of these reactions are carefully chosen, they are automatic. In reacting, you give circumstances permission to shape your behavior. You become responsive to chaos rather than responsible for outcomes. Reaction also distorts perspective. In emotional moments, small issues appear enormous and temporary problems feel permanent. Circumstances gain exaggerated power because reaction magnifies their influence. You say things you do not mean, make promises you cannot keep, or sever connections you later regret. The authority you give to the moment robs you of long-term clarity. What should have been managed becomes multiplied. When circumstances control your reactions, they control your identity. You become different people in different situations, calm when things go well, unstable when they do not. This inconsistency weakens trust, leadership, and self-respect. People cannot rely on someone whose behavior shifts with conditions. True authority comes from consistency, and consistency is impossible without self-control. Reaction invites manipulation. People who understand emotional patterns know how to provoke outcomes. A careless word, a delayed response, or intentional disrespect can trigger predictable reactions in the unguarded. When you react, you reveal your triggers, and what can be triggered can be controlled. Circumstances do not need strength to dominate you. They only need access to your emotions. Reaction also shortens vision. In reactive moments, the future is sacrificed for the present. Immediate relief becomes more important than lasting impact. You choose comfort over character, speed over wisdom, and escape over growth. Circumstances thrive on urgency because urgency silences reflection. Reaction trades destiny for relief and purpose for survival. By reacting, you allow temporary conditions to override permanent principles. Principles require calm deliberation to uphold. Reaction bypasses values and replaces them with emotion-driven decisions. This is why regret often follows reaction. Regret is the realization that authority was misplaced, that the moment ruled instead of the mission. Authority returns when response replaces reaction. Response requires pause, and pause restores power. In that pause, you assess rather than assume, consider rather than conclude, and choose rather than comply. Response does not deny emotion, it disciplines it. Circumstances may speak loudly, but they no longer decide. Life will always present pressure, opposition, and uncertainty. These are unavoidable. What is avoidable is surrendering authority to them. When you stop reacting, you reclaim leadership over your mind, your words, and your direction. Circumstances lose their power not because they disappear, but because they no longer control you. Reaction hands authority to circumstances, but restraint returns authority to you. Pressure reveals governance. It does not create character. It exposes who or what is in control. When life becomes heavy, demanding, or uncertain, the governing force of a person's inner world comes into full view. Comfort can hide immaturity, but pressure removes all masks. What surfaces in moments of strain is not accidental. It is evidence of what rules you. When pressure arrives, some people collapse emotionally, others become aggressive, and some grow silent and strategic. These differences are not random. They are the result of inner leadership. If emotions govern you, pressure will amplify fear, anger, or insecurity. If ego governs you, pressure will provoke defensiveness and pride. If purpose governs you, pressure will refine focus and discipline. Pressure exposes the seat of authority within. Pressure tests priorities. In calm seasons, people claim many values: integrity, patience, loyalty, wisdom. But under pressure, only true priorities remain active. Everything else becomes negotiable. Pressure forces choices, and choices reveal what truly matters. If principles disappear when convenience is threatened, they were never governing principles. Pressure exposes whether values are ornamental or foundational. Pressure also reveals maturity. Immature leadership reacts emotionally, seeks immediate relief, and blames external forces. Mature leadership absorbs pressure without transferring it downward. A governed person does not unload stress onto others through harsh words or impulsive decisions. They understand that leadership is proven in tension, not in ease. Pressure shows whether someone can carry weight without becoming destructive. Governance is revealed in speech under pressure. Words spoken in stress often uncover inner alignment or disorder. Calm, measured language reflects internal order. Chaotic, aggressive speech reflects internal confusion. Pressure strips away rehearsed responses and reveals authentic thought patterns. What you say when pressured is often closer to who you truly are than what you say when relaxed. Pressure also exposes trust systems. When outcomes are uncertain, what do you rely on? Some rely on control, others on approval, others on escape. Governed individuals rely on process, patience, and principle. They understand that not every problem requires immediate resolution. Pressure does not force them into panic because they trust that clarity comes through endurance. A person governed by purpose interprets pressure differently. They do not see it as punishment, but as preparation. Pressure strengthens what is already present. It sharpens discipline, deepens resilience, and clarifies direction. Instead of asking how to escape pressure, they ask how to endure it well. That mindset shift is evidence of inner governance. Pressure also reveals emotional intelligence. The ability to remain self-aware, empathetic, and restrained during stress demonstrates internal order. Governed individuals do not deny emotion, but they do not obey it blindly. They acknowledge stress without allowing it to dictate behavior. This balance reflects a well-ordered inner world. Ultimately, pressure is a diagnostic tool. It reveals who leads you when no one is watching and nothing is comfortable. It shows whether your life is governed by impulse or intention. Pressure will come to everyone, but it does not dominate everyone. It only dominates those without inner leadership. Pressure reveals governance, and governance determines whether pressure breaks you or builds you. Silence strengthens authority because true power does not depend on constant expression. Those who possess inner confidence do not feel compelled to explain, defend, or announce themselves at every moment. Silence is not emptiness. It is restraint with intention. It signals self-control, clarity, and assurance. In a world driven by noise, the ability to remain silent becomes a mark of leadership. Authority weakens when it seeks validation. People who speak excessively often do so to convince others of their position or worth. Silence, however, communicates that validation is unnecessary. When a person is secure in their role, values, and direction, they allow actions and consistency to speak louder than words. This restraint creates respect because it reflects confidence rather than insecurity. Silence also preserves influence. Words spoken too quickly lose weight. When everything is said, nothing stands out. Silence creates space, and space gives meaning to what eventually emerges. Leaders who understand timing know that silence before speech sharpens impact. When they finally speak, people listen because their words are not diluted by constant noise. Silence protects authority from emotional leakage. In moments of anger, fear, or frustration, silence prevents damage. It stops temporary emotions from becoming permanent consequences. Authority requires composure, and composure is maintained through restraint. Silence allows emotions to settle, so decisions are made from clarity rather than impulse. This discipline distinguishes the powerful from the reactive. Silence also commands respect in conflict. Loudness may dominate a moment, but silence dominates outcomes. When provoked, silence denies others the reaction they seek. It shifts control back to the composed individual. This refusal to engage emotionally unsettles manipulators and disrupts conflict-driven agendas. Authority grows when one refuses to be drawn into chaos. Silence strengthens observation. Those who speak less see more. Authority depends on understanding, and understanding requires listening. Silence allows awareness of patterns, intentions, and unspoken dynamics. While others rush to assert opinions, the silent individual gathers insight. This information becomes strategic advantage, reinforcing leadership and credibility. Silence also demonstrates self-trust. Speaking unnecessarily often reveals doubt. Silence reveals certainty. It shows that one does not need to justify decisions prematurely or seek agreement constantly. This calm assurance builds confidence in others. People follow those who appear settled within themselves, not those who are perpetually explaining. Silence carries moral authority as well. It reflects integrity and discipline. Choosing silence over gossip, reaction, or defense preserves character. Over time, consistent restraint builds a reputation of wisdom. People learn that when you speak, it matters. This consistency transforms silence into a source of influence. Ultimately, silence is not withdrawal, it is control. It is choosing when to engage and when to remain still. Authority is not proven by volume, but by presence. Silence strengthens authority because it keeps power contained, focused, and deliberate. In restraint, strength is refined. In silence, authority becomes undeniable. Calmness protects vision because vision cannot survive in chaos. Vision is the ability to see beyond the moment, to hold a clear picture of direction despite uncertainty, delay, or opposition. When emotions dominate, vision becomes blurred. Panic shortens perspective. Fear exaggerates obstacles, and impatience demands immediate results. Calmness creates the mental and emotional stability required to keep the future in focus. A calm mind resists urgency. Urgency pressures people to make decisions based on speed rather than wisdom. Under urgency, individuals abandon long-term purpose for short-term relief. Calmness slows the internal environment just enough to evaluate consequences. It allows you to ask not only what feels necessary now, but what remains meaningful later. In this way, calmness guards vision from being sacrificed at the altar of immediacy. Calmness also shields vision from distraction. Emotional turbulence pulls attention away from direction and toward disturbance. Arguments, criticism, setbacks, and delays become consuming when calmness is lost. Vision requires sustained attention, and attention cannot be maintained in emotional disorder. Calmness filters noise, helping you distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. This discernment preserves momentum. Vision is tested most severely in adversity. When challenges arise, those without calmness interpret resistance as a sign to quit or redirect prematurely. Calm individuals understand that opposition is not always an indicator of error. Often, it is evidence of progress. Calmness allows you to evaluate challenges objectively instead of emotionally. It helps you adjust strategy without abandoning direction. Calmness strengthens patience, which vision demands. Vision unfolds over time, and impatience undermines its process. People lose vision not because it is unclear, but because it takes too long. Calmness nurtures endurance. It reminds you that growth, alignment, and impact require seasons. By remaining calm, you protect vision from the frustration that comes with waiting. Calmness also prevents emotional decision-making. Decisions made in emotional extremes often contradict vision. Anger leads to severed relationships that vision still requires. Fear leads to avoidance of risks. Vision demands. Excitement leads to commitments that dilute focus. Calmness regulates emotions so decisions align with direction rather than disrupt it. Vision thrives on clarity, and clarity requires stillness. Calmness creates the internal stillness necessary for reflection, evaluation, and correction. Without calmness, even a clear vision becomes distorted by misinterpretation. Calm individuals can revisit their vision without panic, refining it without losing it. This adaptability strengthens rather than weakens purpose. Ultimately, calmness protects vision by anchoring you to purpose rather than pressure. Pressure demands reaction. Vision demands discipline. Calmness ensures that circumstances do not rewrite direction. It keeps you aligned when outcomes are delayed and when results are misunderstood. Vision is fragile in emotional storms, but calmness acts as its shelter. When you remain calm, you remain guided. When you remain guided, vision endures.